Hey, it's me again. I wanted to talk to you briefly about context and culture. Something that I may have covered in an earlier video, really didn't look back, I apologize. But there's some things that you need to be familiar with. You will be made aware of as you go through the course, if it hasn't been mentioned already. It has to do with worldview. We all have a worldview. One word for that is perception. And perception is how you interpret things based on your experience. So culture is the basis for your perception. You view things culturally. You view things through that lens. Um, Whatever you've been taught is right, whatever you've been taught is wrong, whatever you've been taught is kind of right and kind of wrong, what rules you can bend, what rules you can't break, so on and so forth. So you you form opinions, behaviors, um, processing thoughts, all based on what you've been taught. And culture is where you get that from. Your culture tells you these things. Lawrence Kohlberg established or created a theory for moral development. That's not the name of it. I'd have to look back and see in my notes. It's been a while. But his idea is that we have this social construct, this social contract, not construct. Kelly talked about construct, social contract. And what does that mean? I'm gonna behave because I want you to behave, right? Well, how does that factor in with culture? Well, it's related to what those behaviors are. And Kohlberg didn't really address it from that standpoint, but you can apply his principles to this. So my culture says that I'm allowed to do such and such, and I do that, but if I take that behavior to a different culture, then it may be very unacceptable or even looked at as very, very odd or whatever the case may be based on their culture. So culture is pretty cool in a way because you can introduce yourself culturally to a new culture, and if it's not harmful or not outlandish, then it could be that you'll have an effect on that. Cultures do that. Cultures collide or they assimilate, and you learn new cultural things, move from here to there, and adapt your culture or whatever the case is. We have that through immigration. People come into this country, or you go to some other country, and you take your perceptions with you. They bring theirs here, and we either accept them, reject them, criticize, condemn, whatever the case is. Ethnocentricity plays a role in that. What is ethnocentricity? Basically, it's judgment. Somebody's different from me, so they're wrong. That's ridiculous. They're different, maybe, but does that mean they're wrong? No, it means they're different. So you need to eliminate ethnocentristic thinking. I'm not saying that you aspire to that, but that removes barriers so that you can learn. I love cultures. I love different cultures, and I know that there's something I can take away from everybody that I meet from a different culture. I had the opportunity to travel around the world. Uh, Vietnam, I didn't want to go there, but I went. Japan, Philippines, Singapore, Hong Kong. Uh, even went to the country of California once, and a little bit different out that way. Lived there briefly. Culture is different out in California, by the way. At least back in the 60s when I was there between tours of duty in Vietnam. More of a laid back culture then, more of a kind of an easygoing view of of what's going on around you. Not everybody, but the majority of people that I knew there were just kind of kicked back, relaxed. So what do you learn from stuff like that? You may learn better ways of dealing with life. You may learn better ways of dealing with all kinds of situations. So it's something to consider. How does it apply to counseling? You have to know what their worldview is. You have to take that into account. They're bringing into a counseling session, we're talking multicultural here. They're bringing into a counseling session their own ideas. How do you apply ethics to that? Well, think back to ethnocentricity. Any number of things. Ethical standards are going to have to be applied to all cultures, regardless of what their perception is. Ethics are pretty much sound. I'm not going to say ethics are exactly the same everywhere, but everybody knows right from wrong. So when you're counseling a person from a different culture, be sure that you're applying the ethical standards that you're learning. Be sure that you're taking into account their worldviews, i.e. perception, based on what their culture has taught them. You're going to be dealing with people in hurting situations, and you got to understand and investigate why that hurts. It may be something that we wouldn't think twice about in our culture. It may be something that's high magnitude in theirs. So brief little ideas about what you're dealing with, what you potentially will be dealing with, and obviously in all of it with the background of Scripture. That's our go-to. I don't even really need to tell you that. I know you know it. So there you have it. Told you to be brief. Have a good day.